Today, I'm joined with Kris Brumley, President and COO of Revenue Enterprises. With more than 2 decades in healthcare collections and a strong background in data analytics, Kris has built her career on aligning strategy with execution, helping healthcare organizations improve patient experience, strengthen financial performance, and embrace innovation in an industry often resistant to change. Under her leadership, Revenue Enterprises has become known not only for operational excellence, but also for a culture that values, respects accountability, and genuine care. I'm excited to dive into her journey and explore how she sees the future of healthcare collections evolving. First and foremost, Kris, why don't you give me a bit of an overview of exactly what it is that you do and what inspired you to take this direction, and what are the current limitations you see in this industry?
Boy.
We're
Um,
diving right into it.
yeah, inspiration. I am from a very small rural town in eastern Montana, and in fact, I'm about 2 hours away from there right now. And have just been part of the customer service industry forever. I'm very driven by treating people the way that I would want to be treated or the way that I would want somebody to treat my grandmother in the customer service industry altogether. And healthcare is just a natural fit for that, quite honestly. I don't think anybody wakes up or goes to through high school planning their career thinking, I want to go into healthcare collections. That's not really a thing. So I I kind of fell into this industry and have been with this company for about 15 years now,
Mm,
and just came to it from a roundabout way. Gosh, I've been a realtor. I've done self-taught medical transcription and ran a medical transcription business that I owned for a few years. Just have done a little bit of everything and fell into this industry and just have grown this company from, along with our CEO and an amazing leadership team, from about 23 people when I started 15 years ago to almost 200 people as of recent.
wow. Yeah.
Definitely customer service driven, taking care of the patients.
I mean, I'm sure you're dealing with disgruntled people all the time. I mean, part of that is just, people aren't necessarily happy to be, doing, having collections or making payments or dealing with healthcare issues. So, how do you keep it upbeat? I mean, I'm sure your patience is incredible. And, what have you learned from just being so involved in all this?
Oh gosh, it's a contact center and it's customer service again. So our biggest driver is just listening. Goodness. Most
Mm,
people just want to be heard. That's the biggest thing. And then do what you
mm,
say you're going to do. Our core values are very fundamental to how we operate,
yeah,
and come hell or high water, we follow our core values. We are going to make sure that we're doing what we say we're going to do, that we act with integrity.
right,
Not as much sympathy or even maybe empathy as some people would expect in healthcare, but situational awareness and understanding where the patient is coming from. You never know what people are thinking, what they've been through that day, or what
right.
they're afraid of, what their financial situation is, anything else. And you just have to listen and pay attention to what they're doing. And we drive that all the way through. Happy employees are a lot happier on the phone with the people that we talk with every day, and we wanna
Right.
take care of them.
Right. And I'm sure, as you know, in the United States, healthcare is a controversial topic to say the least. I mean, you see how you have neighboring countries like Canada or some of the countries like Norway and some of the Slavic countries are just have a slightly more of an optimized healthcare system. And specifically within the United States, what are the biggest limitations that you see?
Oh, boy. It's the way that healthcare is reimbursed in our country is very challenging. It's hard for us to understand in the industry. I can't even imagine if I weren't exposed to everything that I am every day and all of the education that I've received on the billing process. Um, if I were just in a regular patient's shoes, how frustrating and confusing it can be. Um,
Right.
and, as despite all of the changes that have been made over recent years and even a couple decades to try to help with healthcare expenses, it's not changing. Patient
Yeah, do you feel it?
responsibility is growing to be the largest payer within the healthcare industry,
Right,
and it is really challenging for patients to understand that and understand why their insurance doesn't pay or how it pays
right.
and all of those
Do you
things.
do you feel it's like a pendulum where one administration kinda swings one way, and then another administration is kinda pulled back, and it's almost like the process remains stagnant, and you're did you feel like you're living in, like, a relic of the past and just bureaucratic structures are just nothing but overwhelming? You know, it's like
It is a bit of a pendulum. That said, the outcome for the patients doesn't change. It just, like you said, it stays the same. It just keeps growing for the patient no matter what anybody tries.
right,
Um, Quite honestly, the healthcare industry itself doesn't seem to be as proactive to help solve the challenge. And so we have legislators trying to fix it for them in an industry that they're not familiar with. And it just
right,
creates challenges for everybody. I mean, you can't fix a problem that you don't know anything about. And the
right. It's
legislators are
like
trying to do that. And then healthcare's trying to hold on to their control, and they're just not
yeah, it's like
successful either.
you're asking politicians to make scientific decisions. It's
Yeah.
always complicated.
Yep.
What's like the number one issue you see? Like if you had a magic wand and you can just fix something tomorrow, what would be the first thing you'd fix?
Oh, gosh. I still think it's the transparency thing that they've been trying to solve for the last decade. uh, Trying to help patients understand before they ever go to the facility at their hospital or their doctor how much they're going to have to pay for this visit. And I
Hmm.
think patients are smart. They're not people aren't stupid. They know that
Yeah.
if I go into my car mechanic and they find something extra wrong that's really wrong, they're not
Right.
making up things, that I'm going to get charged more for that. People understand that. They aren't always happy about it, but they understand it.
Right.
I think healthcare could be the same way if people, if the industry could embrace more transparency in their pricing. But insurance companies don't make it easy either. Deductibles, copays,
Right.
coinsurance, all of those different things make it harder than heck to follow, what I might owe at any given time also.
Right. And it's almost like you think you understand your plan, and then when it comes to actually deal with it, sometimes it can feel like a bait and switch or smoke and mirrors, where it's like, oh, all these details, and they're like, oh, we put it in the fine print. That's your problem.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's not approved.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of companies, I imagine, like Revenue Enterprises doing similar work to what you do. What would you say is your company's uniqueness factor, and why, your company would stand out relative to the other companies? In essence, what would you attribute to the tremendous growth that you described earlier to your company?
Again, it's genuine care, really
Mm,
caring about the patients. One of our core values and our employees, one of our core values is just the word care. And it's true. We really do. No agency or company that does what we do is going to say that they don't care. They're all going to tout that they care, but
right.
we seem to bring a whole new level of care and genuine curiosity to the marketplace that is relayed through our sales team, through our employees, through our interactions with patients, all of that. I mean, we have a collections division that's actually bad debt, even, and constantly get kudos and
Huh.
appreciation emails and messages from patients who just did not expect to be treated the way they're treated when they call into
Interesting.
our contact center.
Interesting. Back to that. Back to that bureaucratic conversation. I mean, the our industry, our economic landscape is evolving so fast technologically. Do you feel like some of the advances in tools and technology just are kind of held back or inhibited by these bureaucratic old laws that have been implemented decades ago that simply haven't adjusted to the modern times of today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just take, for example, the process of text messaging or emailing a patient. We've
Yeah.
got the Healthcare Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which is all of your healthcare information and the privacy around that information. Text messages don't protect that information. And
Mm,
a regular SMS text message doesn't protect that information. So when a patient wants to text us to have a conversation, which is pretty common anymore, that's how we're used to dealing with everybody. You you can't do that without your HIPAA information being
right.
potentially um accessed by bad actors.
Right.
There's also regulations around our outreach. I mean, goodness gracious, people get sent to collections all the time when they didn't even know they had a balance. And part of
Right.
that is because there are mandates and rules in place about how often we can call a patient and how frequently we can call a patient and what methods we can use to reach a
Right.
patient that have to be built into the patient consent that they sign when they go into the hospital and register. So our ability to contact patients is regulated by rules that are more geared towards spam marketing
Mm.
and those types of things when we're genuinely trying to reach somebody to tell them, "Hey, you
Yeah.
have a bill that you might not know about here, and we're just trying to help you understand."
Yeah, and to talk about HIPAA for just a moment, and to build on your point, it's like these laws have been enacted to protect the end consumer, which is all great. But here's the frustrating part: like HIPAA, the security concerns for HIPAA, the privacy concerns for HIPAA can be addressed, all while we can still use modern tools like texting and like such. It's more of like that these laws have been designed for 20 years ago, and they really don't blend with modern technology today. Like if you get a handful of engineers in a room to find a way to maintain that security and privacy all while using super modern tools like texting, I guarantee you it can be done. And it's more like
Absolutely.
these, and it just moves so slowly. And you want to provide a good service, but and you do, but you want to provide a better service. And I feel like a lot of these constraints are just like there's nothing you can do about it, and you're the middle person
Yeah.
getting frustrated because people want that facility and they don't get it. They don't get the nuance, the esoteric rules of these laws and all that. But you're like, hey, it is what it is, and this is what we're gonna do.
No, and nobody ever wants to hear, "Well, that's our process," or "Those are the rules," or
Right.
any of
Oh,
that.
I
They
hate
just
hearing that.
wanna
Yeah.
communicate on the channel they wanna communicate on, and we
Yeah.
wanna be available to do that,
Even
but
like
we also
recently,
have to follow the rules.
like I got like a scan for my back, and they were like, yeah, we can only give you a CD-ROM, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? Who I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in the world who has a CD-ROM anymore. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's just how it is. That's just how it is." And I'm just like, this feels like 1945. But yes, yeah, bureaucracy is a complete cancer to innovation, and that's the problem. I mean, the government can protect you, but it's a double-edged sword because they can also just be very slow to change, as we all know. And
They're
I want,
protecting us from ourselves, and do you really care if somebody gets a hold of your back images? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
you
All
know?
right. So, Kris, I want to turn the focus a little more to you. Because from what I read online is that you started from a temp receptionist and you find yourself to president and COO. And taking the context of the healthcare industry and collections out of place here and focusing on more of the abstract troubles and successes that you've had, like someone's starting their journey and they're hungry and they're excited for growth, and they go, it's such a far climb to pursue. Like, give us a piece of advice of how you started as a receptionist, and what challenges you had on the way, and what allowed you to kind of climb that ladder to where you are now.
I think the biggest thing for me, I grew up in a tiny little town, literally 600 people in eastern Montana, and it was
Mhm.
90 miles away from a McDonald's. I mean, it just there was nothing in the town that I grew up. I graduated with 15 people
It's
and
amazing.
left and went to college in LA. And I will tell you, I was raised with kind of what I would consider now as old-fashioned work ethic, a lot of grit and a lot of um perseverance and just stick to itiveness. Boy, I was taught when I was very young that you can do anything you put your mind to and just, power through it. And gosh, I watched a podcast just couple weeks ago and realized how different it has become to get to a position where you can actually influence other people. It's not just
Yeah.
grit. It's not just pushing through and putting your mind to something because boy, you run over people when you do that. It's a
Right.
lot of listening, a lot of paying attention, constant learning, being willing to admit that you don't know everything. Um, eating some humble pie once in a while and understanding that again, that there are people everywhere that are smarter than you in different areas and being willing to understand that and tap into those resources and
Yeah.
lift and enable those resources and allow them to work together as a powerful unit rather than one or two people trying to, build something. It's one thing to
Right.
want to build something amazing, but you got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and that you can
It's
reach out to and talk to and ask.
100% agree. It's so important to always have that learning cap on and to always feel like you're the smallest person in the room and that there's so much to learn from everyone around you. Because the moment you feel like you're the biggest person in the room, that's when you stop growing.
Right.
And I would wonder, perhaps maybe of a, a part that, perhaps what we can attribute to your success is the fact that you grew up 90 miles away from anything and nothing was made perhaps spoon fed to you. And if you wanted to grow in life, it was up to just you. Would you
Absolutely,
feel?
you gotta be willing to figure it out. If you don't have the answer, I mean, I
Yeah.
we joke
But knowing
now.
you have that like safety net to fall back to is like sometimes the worst thing.
Yeah,
Like if sometimes you're like, hey, if I don't find success in life, no one else will find it for me. That's sometimes the biggest motivation because it's not a luxury; it's a core necessity.
right. Yeah, I tell every new hire class that we onboard, nobody's gonna be a better advocate for you than you are. As
Mm,
much as I care about you and wanna help you and our team cares about you and wants to help you, we don't read minds,
right,
and you need to speak up for yourself. And we want to hear your thoughts. We hire smart people. We want you to ask why. We want you to question things so that we can keep getting better and keep improving and keep bringing new ideas and new thoughts into place. My personality, um, I had a behavioral study, one of those behavioral tests that we did at one point, and it came back as I don't just think outside the box. I just don't believe there is a box. That's how
mm,
my mind works. I come up with weird ideas that maybe nobody else might have thought of, and people look
right,
at me sideways. But you just can't be afraid to speak up and to
right,
say what's on your mind. Be brave, but you have to be exposed to an environment that allows that, that doesn't poo poo your ideas, your
right,
thoughts, doesn't think that you have dumb ideas. No idea is a bad idea. It's just some are more applicable than others to the situation at hand, and
right.
and all of them should be considered in any
Yeah,
circumstance.
yeah. And looking back through your journey, uh, is there ever a moment or a specific moment that stood out to you where that was like a defining moment that kind of highlighted, a significant change or milestone, a lesson learned that you carry with you? Was there anything in particular that stands out?
Boy, something that stands out. Nothing in particular, but I will say the one thing that really stands out for me is when people tell me I can't do something.
Mm,
That's a trigger for me, of heck no, I can do whatever the heck I, I put my
right.
mind to. We're gonna figure it out, and I'm not gonna do it alone. I'm gonna bring all my friends with me.
Mm,
So I think that's the biggest thing. Like you pointed out, I started with this company as a temp receptionist. Our owner spun off this branch that we have now that we've had since, gosh, for probably almost 30 years now. But I worked for him 25 years ago for our parent company that we spun off from as a temp receptionist. And at the time I worked 3 different jobs. And that's
Mm,
why it was temp part-time, was because I was working at Perkins and uh Saab dealership as a receptionist at the time, and needed another part-time job just to make ends meet, and
mm,
pretty quickly just started moving up. And it comes from just applying yourself and paying attention to what's going on around you, and not for me specifically, and I think for most people, any company that tells me I have to stay in my lane is not the company for me. That's not the place to grow,
mm,
because you can't stay in your lane and learn the why behind what you do. I don't know why I'm doing this if I don't know what happened before and what happens
right.
after. I
And it's
need
almost
to
like,
impacting. I also need to know how it got to me in the first place.
right. And it's almost like staying in your lane is antithetical to what's special about you, is being creative, thinking outside a box that doesn't exist. And the moment you're constrained from that is like what makes you unique is being diminished.
Yep, absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
everybody's that way. There are people that are a lot more reserved, obviously, than I am. Um, and that are a heck of a lot more successful than I am. And again, I think it's going back to not staying in a specific lane and
Right.
being willing to go outside their own comfort zone and test the waters in other places.
Got it. Now, where is Kris in 5 years from now? Where do you see all this going?
Oh gosh. 5 years from now, I would expect that this company is again twice the size that it is now. That's kind of our growth trajectory, is to double every 5 to 7 years. So, I
Mm.
would expect that we're going to be quite a bit bigger by then. I would hope that I have a successor in place that is working with me and beside me to help lead our organization and keep it going. And hopefully I'm preparing to join my husband in retirement and do a lot of fishing. So that's, for me personally, that's my happy place. Um, but I if somebody would have told me 15 years ago that I was still going to be with this company, I would have laughed at them then too. So again, with my personality, I make plans and goals, but they change
Yeah.
pretty
Some
easily and
people
based on the situation.
yeah, some people would say that as a bad thing, but you say it as a good thing, which is really beautiful to hear. It's like, "Oh, I never thought I'd still be in this company." And like that's like, "Oh, I hate this job and I'm still stuck here." But the way you said it was the complete opposite, that I'm like so happy that I'm still here.
Well, that's thanks to a wonderful CEO or CEO and owner of the company as well. He's recognized me specifically and my need to be able to move and shift with the needs of the company, and I try really hard to recognize what we need next and move in that direction and help our team understand that it's pretty obvious when you need to focus on your clients, or when you
Right.
need to focus on your patients. You get the feedback, and it's a matter of being flexible enough to pivot and do that in the right moment.
Yeah.
And I've been all over the place. I've been in operations, I've been in sales, I've been in customer service. The only thing I haven't done is IT, because boy, there's people a heck of a lot smarter than me doing that part of the job. But it's really just the flexibility that has kept me here and energized. And I love the people I work with and that work for our company. They're amazing. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely beautiful. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh boy, they can call me. They can go to our website. We're at revenueenterprises.com. And if they reach out through our info email, they can get to me that way. Um, they can also reach out, I'm sure, in other ways, but that's the best way, is go to our website and just go there. I'm also in our leadership group. I'm on LinkedIn, a lot of different things. I am just Kris, though. I'm not Christy or Crystal or any of the other
Any
ways
of the
that
other
that
guys.
name goes.
That's amazing. Well, I appreciate your humility and wisdom at the same time, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. You too, Michael. Have a great day.